Okay guys, welcome back to Unit 6, the probability unit. Make sure you're on page 6. Today we're going to see some examples of starting off with multiple events. What that means, as you'll see in the examples, is when more than one thing happen in a row. Like, what's the chances of flipping, here's a basic problem. What's the chances or probability of flipping a coin and doing heads, getting a heads twice in a row? So that would be multiplication. Like for the first heads, 1/2, and then the second heads, 1/2, and you multiply them together, and then you'd convert to a percent. So the probability of getting a heads twice in a row would be 25%. So that's what this guy is showing right here. Probability of two things happening in a row. You have to multiply their individual probabilities. So, example 1, suppose you have 5 books in your book bag. 3 are novels, I like to underline. 1 is a biography, and 1 is a poetry book. Today, you grab a book out of your book bag without looking and return it later. Tomorrow you do the same thing. What is the probability that you grab a novel on both days? So 2 days means we're going to have 2 fractions and we're going to multiply them together. So there's 5 books total. We want to do novel, then novel. So the probability of getting a novel, there are 3 novels out of 5 books total. Then you put it back, and the second day you do the same exact thing. Novel for the second day is also 3 out of 5. So we're going to multiply them to see what the probability of getting them 2 days in a row is. So that would be 9 over 25. And we can convert that to a decimal, which then we convert to a percent. So 36%. Example 2, suppose you're taking a multiple choice exam and you do not know the answer to 3 questions, so you have to guess. What's the probability that you guess all 3 questions correctly, assuming there are 4 choices for each question? So you're trying to have it 3 times in a row. So the chance of getting the first one right is 1 out of 4, times the second one right, 1 out of 4, times the third one right, 1 out of 4. Multiply those together, you get 1 out of 64. Let's convert it to a percent. So that would be 0.0156, which is 1.56%. Example 3, there's a bag with 3 red, 4 blue, 2 green, 6 yellow, and 5 pink marbles in a bag. Find each probability, assuming you replace the first marble before choosing the second one. Okay, let's make a note that there are 20 total here, 20 total marbles. So we have 4 individual problems or situations that we're going to do. So the first one in A, it's asking you what's the probability of getting a red and then a pink. So the red would be 3 out of 20. Then you put it back and you start over again with the pink. There are 5 pink out of 20 total. So then you can multiply those 2 together. Each of those numbers can divide by 5, and then you can convert it to the decimal would be 0.0375, which is 3.75%. If you round to 4%, that's okay, but as I've said on an earlier lesson, I prefer percentages if you don't round them to a whole number. Okay, what's the chances of getting 2 green in a row? Letter B. The first green would be there's 2 out of 20 total marbles. Times the second green, well, you did put the first one back, so we restart 2 green out of 20 marbles again. This is called with replacement, when you're just starting over at the same numbers. Multiply them together, you get 4 out of 400. Reduce that fraction, divide them each by 4 to have 1 out of 100, which is easy. We know that is 1%. Okay, letter C, the probability of getting a blue, then a yellow, then a blue. So we have 3 things in a row. So the first blue is 4 out of 20. We put it back. And then we grab a yellow, so that would be a 6 out of 20 chance, put it back. And then another blue, 4 out of 20 chance, and put it back. So then we would multiply all of these together. That would be 96 over 8,000. We can reduce this to 3 out of 250. And then we're going to convert it to a decimal. That'll be 0.012. And then convert to a percent, 1.2%. Letter D, what's the probability of getting a black then a white? Well, there are no black out of 20. The white, there's not even white either. Doesn't even matter, because no matter what, we're going to get 0%. Impossible. So impossible is 0%. Okay, example 4 is a little bit different. This time, you're going to pool a marble, and this is called without replacement. Meaning you're going to pool a marble, and then for the second pool, you're going to leave the one out. So let's read this. There's a bag with 3 red, 4 blue, 2 green, and 6 yellow, and 5 pink marbles. So that makes 20 total again. Find each probability knowing that you do not replace the first marble before choosing the second one. So it's going to be slightly different than example 3. So let's take a look at A. What's the probability of getting a red, then a pink? So start with the red, 3 out of 20. Pretty simple in the first pool. It's your standard 3 out of 20. After that, what's your probability of getting a pink? Now, there's not 20 marbles remaining. You did not put the first one back in. That means there's only 19 marbles left over. And out of those 19 marbles, 5 of them are pink. So we're going to multiply that together. That would be 15 divided by 380, which would be 0.039, which is 3.9%. Letter B, what's the probability of getting 2 green? Again, I do not have replacement. So the first green, you're just starting over. 2 out of 20. Times, now it's going to get tricky. There's 19 marbles left. You assume that your first one was a green. So don't put a 2 on top. You assume that you have 1 less green. So that would make 1 green left over. So multiply, you would get not 3, 2 out of 380, which divides to have 0.005, which is 0.5%. That's half of 1%. Okay, letter C, probability of a blue, then a yellow, then a blue. So you have 3 here. So the blue, start over from scratch here, would be 4 out of 20. There's 4 blues out of 20 marbles. Then the second one is a yellow. There are 19 marbles left total. You still have 6 yellow left. And then for the third one is another blue. There's 18. You have 2 that are pulled out. That means you have 18 remaining. And how many blue are there? Well, we originally had 4 blue, but we took one out here. So don't put a 4. We have a 3 blue left over. Okay? So now we're going to multiply the fractions. Divide to get the decimal. And then convert to a fraction. Convert to a percent. 1.05%. Letter C, what's the probability of getting a black then a white? Well, again, there's no black, so 0%. Example 5. Consider a spinner divided into 8 equal sections. That would be like that, okay? Labeled 1 through 8. Suppose you spin the arrow 4 times. What's the probability that it lands on an even number all 4 times? So the first time you're spinning it, it's 1 out of 2. There's 4 even numbers there. The number's 2, 4, 6, 8. Then a second time is multiplied by another 1/2. A third time is by another 1/2. And a fourth time by another 1/2. So essentially that's 1/2 to the 4th power, right? 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. So that would be 1/16. So there's my fraction 1/16. Divide to have the decimal, 0.0625. And the percent, move the decimal to the right 2 spots, 6.25%. Okay, pause this and try this one on your own. So this is a multiple choice problem. Daniel has 1 blue pencil and 5 yellow pencils, and 2 pink erasers, 4 tan erasers, 3 gray erasers in his backpack. If Daniel randomly selects 1 pencil and 1 eraser from his backpack, what is the probability that he will choose a yellow pencil and a gray eraser? So what are those probabilities? So the first one would be the yellow pencil, so that would be 5 yellows out of 6 pencils total. You wouldn't add up, do not add up all of them. Pencils and erasers are not the same thing, so we do have to treat them differently in different denominators. So 5 yellow pencils out of 6 total pencils. We're going to multiply that by the eraser. What's the chance of getting a gray eraser? Well, there's 9 erasers total, and 3 of them are gray. So we multiply that, and then we want to reduce it. You could divide each of those numbers by 3 and get 5 out of 18. Okay, next up, it's kind of like part 2 of today's lesson. This is multiple events. Definitely different than the first part. This is what we refer to as something or something happening. Okay, don't confuse this with 2 things happening in a row. In this part, it's going to be like, all right, you're pulling things out of a bag. What's the chances of getting a green or a blue? Not, you're only having one pull here. You're not having multiple pulls. So as you can see in the top, the probability of getting A or B is you add up the probability of A plus the probability of B. Easier than it sounds. So example 6, a number cube is rolled. Remember I said that when it says number cube, that's a die, not labeled 1 through 6. We want to find the probability that you roll a 2 or a 3. So you are going to create two fractions. The 2, or actually you just need one fraction here. There's 6 outcomes total on the bottom. To get a 2 or a 3, there's I put a 1 for the number 2 because there's only one of them. And then rolling a 3, there's only 1 3. So the outcomes we're looking for, there's 2 of them out of 6 possible outcomes. And then you reduce that fraction, 1/3, and we all know that 1/3 is 33%. Example 7. There's a bag with 3 red, 4 blue, 2 green, 6 yellow, and 5 pink marbles. Find each probability. So we have 20 total marbles. So in A, the probability of getting a green or a blue. That means, again, one pool, so one fraction here. So there are 20 total on the bottom, 20 total marbles. So to get a green or a blue, there's 2 green plus 4 blue. That means 6 of what I want out of 20 things total. And that, of course, reduces, divide them by 2, 3/10, and we all know that that is 30%. Letter B, what's the probability of getting a red or a pink? So again, there's 20 total. So we're looking for reds or pink. We'd be happy with either one. So there's 3 reds plus 5 pink would make 8 things out of 20 of what we're looking to get. So that fraction can reduce. That can be 4/10, which is 2/5. No matter what, we're looking for percent form, so that would be 40%. 4 out of 10 is 40%. Okay, letter C. What's the probability of getting a purple? Well, that's easy. There's none of them. So that would be 0%. Letter D. What's the probability of getting a yellow or a blue? So out of 20 total, how many are yellow or blue? There's 6 yellow plus the 4 blue would make 10 total of what I'm looking for out of 20, which is 1/2, which we know is 50%. Okay, next up, you do number 2. From a group of 3 girls and 6 boys, 2 will be chosen at random. What % chance is there that the first person chosen is a boy and the second chosen is a girl? So this is not like the one we just did. This is not a great example. This actually should have been in the first section. So we're looking for what are the chances of a boy, then a girl. So the first fraction there are 9 people, 6 of them are boys. And then for getting a girl second, there's 8 people left over, 3 of them are girls. So we would multiply that together. We would reduce that, and that, of course, is 25%. So again, I apologize for the placement of this problem. This problem should have actually been along with the first page when you're having 2 things in a row. Okay, guys, that's it for my lesson. Move on to the page 8 practice homework.